Ultron has been defeated, and the Avengers have saved the day once again. It's time to celebrate, right? Right? Welcome to another episode of Thorgi's Theories, the show where I give you my crazy pop culture conspiracies, speculations, and sometimes just straight up headcanons. And I just got done watching Age of Ultron, and I spent about half the movie looking for little Easter eggs, but instead I found something much darker. A possible warning of things to come for a certain god of thunder. That's right, today it's a Thorgi Thor theory. It's the episode I was destined to make. Now, before I go any further, yes, there will be spoilers for Age of Ultron in this episode, as well as for the current Thor series, but come on. I saw those box office returns. I'm pretty sure you've already seen the movie by now. So during the movie, there's a scene where the Scarlet Witch uses her powers to manipulate the Avengers and make them experience their personal nightmares. Except Thor gets a different message. His vision seems almost like an ominous warning, as he sees many figures dancing in a nightmarish ballroom, and Heimdall, the watchman for the gods, now approaches him, the all-seeing guard now blind, and tells him that the sign of Odin is upon them, and says, "They see you leading us to hell, and we are all dead." Okay, a lot to cover in that little exchange. First thing to bring up is the sign of Odin. Now, the obvious answer would be that this refers to Loki taking over Asgard and impersonating Odin, but there's a chance this could also refer to the Serpent, Odin's brother, possibly returning in the next Thor movie to reclaim the throne for himself. But the odds of that are pretty slim, so I'm sticking with the Loki thing. And Loki being in a position of power means he can give orders, such as sending his troops on dangerous missions, such as, commanding Thor to lead the armies of Asgard into hell, just like Heimdall said. Now, this brings me to who will be the villain of the final Thor film, and based on these hints, I'd say it comes down to two choices. A, the daughter of Loki, who actually watches over the underworld of Norse mythology, whose name actually is Hel, spelled with one L, so that certainly looks promising. However, this is going to be the final Thor film, and for the last one you have to go big, and there's few Thor villains bigger than Surtur. He's a fire demon who rules over the realm of Muspelheim, which I probably butchered, and is the realm of fire, meaning it's basically the Norse mythology version of hell. But what put me over to the Surtur camp is that we've all heard by now that there are deleted scenes in Age of Ultron that feature Loki, but we haven't heard what that scene was. That is until recently when Joss Whedon finally came out in an interview and said that originally when Thor got his vision in the magic waters, that vision was originally going to be of him asking Loki questions and receiving the answers to his quest, but all around them, Asgard was going to be in flames. Now sure, this scene was deleted, but they still wrote down in the script, Asgard is on fire for a reason. So based on all this, I'm going to say that Surtur is going to be the villain in the next Thor film, not to mention if there's any villain out there who could kill Thor, it's going to be him. What? Oh, you thought Thor was going to survive in his next movie? That's right, this wasn't a theory about who was going to be the next villain in the Thor series. Oh no, you know how I do in these theories. I hit you with the soft theory first, and then when you're not expecting it, I bring in the heavy one. That's right, the real theory I'm proposing to you today is that I think Thor is going to die in his final movie. What's my evidence? Well, we haven't gotten a lot of hints yet, but let's look at what we have. We've already talked about the dream sequence, that Heimdall warns him that they're already in hell and that they're dead. So clearly the struggle in the next film is going to be that Thor is trying to save all the other Asgardians, and I'm sure that he'll succeed, but at what cost? I mean, the warning is basically, we're all dead, so no way is everyone walking out of the next Thor film untouched. And while I'm on the subject, all the time I've been calling it the next Thor film. What's the actual title of it again? Oh, that's right. Thor Ragnarok. Now, in Norse mythology, Ragnarok was the war that resulted in the death of all the gods, including Thor. So the name alone seems to imply that he's not safe. But just because the premise of Ragnarok is that Thor must stop the war that will kill all the gods, that doesn't mean he's going to die. I mean, it's a superhero movie. The heroes always win in the end. So what makes me think he's not making it out of this one? Well, let's look beyond the movie for a minute at the real world. It's pretty clear that Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor each received 3 movies, and the same can be said for the Avengers, although many believe that the franchise will carry on just with a different team of Avengers after the 3rd film. But why would people believe that? Why would it seem that the Avengers are going to continue without these characters? Well, let's face it, Chris Evans can't be Captain America forever, Robert Downey Jr. can't suit up for another 20 years. There's one enemy no hero can defeat, and that's time. Eventually these actors are going to get old, and they'll have to retire from these roles. And you can easily work that into the script. You can have Captain America and Iron Man retire, passing the mantle down to a younger generation of heroes. But what about Thor? Remember that while all the other heroes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe are humans, Thor is a god. He ages at about 1,000 times slower than a normal human, but Chris Hemsworth, on the other hand, does not. Which means that when it's time for Chris Hemsworth to hang up the hammer, they can't exactly just have Thor walk off into the sunset. Heck, even if Odin dies and Thor has to become the new king of Asgard, he can still show back up for cameos in the movies for years to come. There are only two options for Marvel when it comes to Thor. You either recast him, or you kill him. And yes, Marvel already recast War Machine, but that was when they were just starting up. Now they're more established, and you can tell that they have a different attitude. Just look at the last Avengers film. Again, spoilers, but that movie ends with Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Hawkeye all leaving the team. And sure, we know that at least some of them will come back at some point, but the fact remains that this is proof that Marvel is playing with the idea that they can't keep these actors around forever. Now I know someone in the comments is about to say, but what about the comics? Marvel wants to sell the Thor comics, so why would they kill off that character? Well, for starters, the movie's bringing so much more money than the comics that the movies don't exactly care what happens to the comics, but there is some validity to your point. If the movies are like the sports team, then the comic books are the mascot. The comics are there to help, in a minor way, kind of promote the movie. But, have you read the Thor comics recently? Thor Odin's son is not currently Thor. There's a new wielder of the hammer, and in fact, Thor Odin's son actually died in the lead up to their big event, Secret Wars. Now, I'm not new to comics, I know they'll probably bring him back, and also spoiler for the new Thor series, but the new Thor is Jane Foster, and Natalie Portman has made it quite clear she doesn't want to stick around for any more Marvel movies. So I'm not necessarily implying that Jane will take over for Thor in the movies, but remember when Marvel created this new Thor and the internet exploded with, oh, they're just going to change it back when the movie comes around. After Age of Ultron, they're just going to change it back because that's not the Thor that's going to be in the movies. Well, guess what? They're not. We've already seen who Thor is after the movie, and we've seen who Thor is going to be for pretty much the next year, and guess what? It's the new female Thor. Now, the first thing this tells us is that the movie studio didn't come in and say, hey, change Thor back after the movies like everyone said they would, but what if it means something else? What if they did come in and give orders to Marvel? This change to Thor came pretty suddenly, so I'm about to get total conspiracy theory on you. But what if instead of the movie studios coming in and saying, hey, change Thor back for the movie, what if instead they came in and said, hey, we're going to lose Chris Hemsworth after the next movie, so give us another Thor? Okay, that's about it for this video, so I thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe and, there's a question. Yes, you in the back. But Chris Hemsworth signed on for one more Avengers movie. How can he be in that if he's dead? Yes, this is true. He is indeed signed on for one more Avengers movie. Except that Infinity War is split into two movies. Which means that there are two choices here. One is that I'm crazy and for contract purposes Infinity War counts as one movie, or two, it means he's going to be in only one of them. And if someone else is going to pick up the hammer and gain the powers of Thor, I can totally see the ghost of old Thor coming back Obi-Wan Kenobi style and giving them a speech about what it means to be worthy right before that person picks up the hammer and goes in to save the day. Or maybe he does die in Ragnarok and he skips out the first movie, but then when it's time to defeat Thanos, they use the Infinity Gauntlet to bring him back to life. Or, for a third option, maybe I'm wrong about all this and he won't die in Ragnarok, but instead dies at the end of Infinity Wars Part 1, because if you want a hell of a cliffhanger to leave your audience on, Thanos killing a god is a pretty good one. Either way, point I'm trying to make here is that all these clues point towards one thing: Thor is not safe. And again, spoilers for Age of Ultron, but let's just say there was a character in there who signed on to do 3 movies, and it's pretty clear they're not going to be able to make those last 2. And after that character's death, Marvel Studios came out and flat out said, yeah, we had that character sign that contract just to trick people so that they wouldn't see that death coming. Remember folks, if an actor signs a contract for X number of films, it just means that they're willing to do that many films. The studio, on the other hand, can cut them short whenever they want, and we already have proof that Marvel is willing to do that. So let's go over all that again. The final Thor film is named after the war in Norse mythology in which Thor died. We already have Heimdall warning us in Age of Ultron that they're all dead. Like all the other actors, Chris Hemsworth will eventually have to leave the franchise, but unlike the other characters, Thor only has one way out. Then there's the curious contract that he signed, and the fact that Thor Odin's son isn't even the actual Thor anymore in the comics. All this points right to Thor isn't safe in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Or maybe someone's just playing a trick on me. Either way, I thank you guys for watching another Thorgi's Theories. If you like this episode, then hit that subscribe button for more geeky videos, including top 10s and weekly geekly news wrap-ups. Also, remember to comment, hit that thumb up, and as always, spread this around the net. I always appreciate anyone who does that. So thank you to everyone, and come back next time.